Royal Crest City never slept. Even when the moon hung high and the streets were quiet, the heart of the city glowed like fire, lights flashing from skyscrapers, luxury cars gliding past like kings on wheels, and rich laughter echoing from places ordinary people could never afford. At the center of that glittering world stood Imperial Flame Restaurant. It wasn't just a restaurant. It was a kingdom for the wealthy. Tall glass walls reflected golden chandeliers that shimmered like stars. Soft piano music floated through the air, slow and expensive. The smell of grilled steak and rare wine wrapped around every guest like silk. Only the powerful ate here. Only the rich belonged here. And tonight, the most feared billionaire in Royal Crest City had arrived. His name was Mr. Kalen Zhou. The moment the front doors opened, silence swept across the restaurant like a wave. Every head turned. Men in designer suits straightened their backs. Women adjusted their jewelry. Even the manager rushed forward, sweating under his collar. Mr. Zhou walked in calmly, tall and confident, his black coat resting perfectly on his shoulders. His eyes were sharp, cold. The eyes of a man who had everything and trusted no one. Whispers followed him. "That's him. The steel tycoon. He bought 3 companies last week. They say he fired a whole board of directors without blinking. Money had made him powerful. Power had made him feared." The manager bowed deeply. "Welcome, Mr. Zhou. Your table is ready." Without a word, Mr. Zhou nodded. His friends, rich businessmen with gold watches and expensive smiles, followed behind him. They were led to the best seat in the restaurant. The golden table. It sat in the center beneath the biggest chandelier, where everyone could see them. Where they could be admired. Where they could feel superior. Glasses of imported wine were poured instantly. The soft glow of candlelight reflected off diamonds and silverware. Laughter slowly returned to the restaurant. The king had taken his throne. Across the room, a young waitress stood quietly. Her uniform was neat but worn. Her shoes were clean but old. Her name was Lena Hart. She was only 22. But life had aged her far beyond that. Long shifts. Late nights. Tired feet. Yet she still stood straight. Still smiled softly at guests. Still worked harder than anyone else. Because every tip mattered. Every hour mattered. Every coin went to one place. Sunrise Mercy Hospital, where her father lay on a thin bed, fighting a sickness that swallowed money faster than she could earn it. Lena picked up her tray and walked toward the golden table. Her heart pounded. Serving rich customers always made her nervous. Not because they were rich, but because they were cruel. As she approached, Mr. Zhou barely glanced at her. "Wine," he said coldly. "The expensive one." "Yes, sir," Lena replied politely. She poured carefully, hands steady. One of the men leaned back in his chair. "She's shaking," he whispered loudly, laughing. Mr. Zhou finally looked at her. His eyes moved from her worn shoes to her tired face. Something like disgust crossed his expression. "You work here?" he asked flatly. "Yes, sir." "How long?" "2 years, sir." "Humph!" he smirked. "Still poor, I see." His friends laughed. Lena lowered her eyes. She had heard worse. But it still hurt. Mr. Zhou turned to his friends and suddenly switched to Mandarin. His voice grew louder. Confident. Cruel. "She looks like she crawled out of the streets. Probably can't even count the money she earns." The men chuckled. Another added in Mandarin. "Girls like her stay poor forever. That's their destiny." They laughed harder. They assumed Lena understood nothing. To them, she was just another ignorant waitress. Another nobody. Lena's hands tightened around the tray. Her chest burned. Every word cut like a knife. But her face stayed calm. Because she understood everything. Memories flashed in her mind. Her mother teaching her Mandarin in their tiny kitchen. "Language is power, Lena," her mother used to say. "One day it may save you." Her mother was gone now, but the words lived inside her. And tonight, that language was being used to destroy her dignity. Mr. Zhou leaned back comfortably. "This is entertainment," he said in Mandarin. "Watching poor people serve us." One man laughed. "Maybe she should thank us for giving her a job." More laughter. The sound filled the golden table like poison. Around them, other guests glanced over, uncomfortable. But no one spoke. No one ever challenged billionaires. Lena finished pouring the wine. She placed the bottle gently down. Her hands were no longer shaking. Her heart was steady. Her eyes lifted slowly. And for the first time, Mr. Kalen Zhou met her gaze. There was something different in it. Not fear. Not weakness. Something quiet. Strong. Unbreakable. A storm behind calm water. And deep inside Lena's chest, a decision formed. A decision that would change the night. Change the billionaire. Change her life forever. The golden chandelier above Mr. Zhou's table shimmered softly, but the air beneath it had grown heavy. Lena stood still for a moment after placing the wine bottle down. Her fingers slowly released the tray. She felt every heartbeat in her chest. The billionaire and his friends had returned to laughing, loud, careless, cruel, as if she were invisible. As if she were nothing. But Lena heard everything. Every joke. Every insult. Every word meant to crush her spirit. Mr. Zhou swirled his wine lazily. Still speaking in Mandarin, he said, "Look at her posture. Like a servant born to bow forever." One of the men leaned forward, smirking. "She probably dreams of marrying rich. Girls like her always do." Another added, "But who would want something so cheap?" Laughter exploded. Sharp. Mocking. The sound echoed through Lena's ears like thunder. Her throat tightened. Her eyes stung. But she didn't move. She stood politely beside the table like she was trained to. Because in this world, poor people weren't allowed to react. The restaurant manager glanced nervously from across the room. He noticed Lena frozen beside the billionaire's table. But he didn't step in. He never did when rich customers were involved. Money spoke louder than dignity. Mr. Zhou leaned back comfortably, enjoying the moment. "You know what's funny?" he said in Mandarin. "They work their whole lives and still stay at the bottom." His friend replied, "That's because they don't deserve more." Mr. Zhou chuckled. "Exactly. Some people are born to serve." Lena felt something twist deep inside her. Born to serve? Was her mother born to scrub floors until her hands cracked? Was her father born to lie sick on a hospital bed while bills piled up? Was she born to be insulted? No. But the rich thought so. Because they had never known hunger. Never known fear. Never known pain. One man snapped his fingers at Lena. "Hey, girl. More bread." Lena nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." As she turned to leave, Mr. Zhou spoke again in Mandarin. "Watch her run like a trained pet." They burst into laughter. Lena's steps slowed. Her back straightened. She felt heat rise through her body. But she kept walking. Each step felt heavier than the last. In the kitchen, Lena leaned against the wall. Her breath shook. She pressed her fingers into her palm to stop herself from crying. She couldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of them. Other servers glanced at her with pity. "Are you okay?" one whispered. Lena forced a small smile. "I'm fine." She always said that. Even when she wasn't. She picked up the breadbasket and walked back. Her heart pounded louder with each step. The golden table shined in front of her like a battlefield. She placed the bread carefully. Mr. Zhou didn't even look at her. Instead, he lifted his glass. "To wealth," he said in Mandarin. "The only thing that matters." They clinked glasses. "To power." "To superiority." More laughter. Then one of the men said something that cut deeper than all the rest. In Mandarin, "People like her are lucky we even allow them near us." Mr. Zhou nodded slowly. "Yes. Without us rich people, they'd be nothing." That was it. Something inside Lena cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. The pain turned into strength. The humiliation turned into courage. Her hands stopped shaking. Her breathing steadied. She raised her head slowly. Mr. Zhou noticed. He frowned slightly. "What is it?" he asked in English, annoyed. Lena looked him directly in the eyes. For the first time, she didn't bow, didn't apologize, didn't look away. She stood tall, calm, strong, silent. The men chuckled nervously. "What's wrong with her?" one whispered. Mr. Zhou smirked, probably confused. "They always are." He turned back to Mandarin. "Poor girl is staring like she understands us." Another laughed. "As if she could." Mr. Zhou shook his head. "People like her only understand orders." Lena's lips parted slightly. Her voice was quiet, but steady, clear, strong, and spoken in perfect Mandarin. "You speak about poverty like it is a disease," she said softly. "But cruelty is the real sickness here." The table froze. Wine glasses stopped mid-air. Smiles vanished. The laughter died instantly. Every man stared at her, eyes wide, mouths open. Shock flooded their faces. Mr. Zhou's face turned pale. "What did you say?" he whispered. Lena continued calmly. "You mock those who work hard. You insult those who struggle. You think money makes you better than others." Her Mandarin was flawless. "Better than some of theirs." "You have wealth," she said, "but no respect." Silence swallowed the golden table. Other diners turned to watch. The entire restaurant held its breath. Mr. Zhou slowly stood up. His jaw tightened. "You understand Mandarin?" he asked sharply. "Yes," Lena replied. "I understand every word you said." A wave of embarrassment rushed over the men. One looked away. Another cleared his throat. The billionaire who once controlled rooms with confidence now looked shaken. Lena bowed slightly, not in weakness, but in respect. "I will bring your food," she said calmly. Then she turned and walked away. Strong, proud, unbroken. Behind her, the golden table was no longer golden. It was silent, awkward, small, and for the first time in his powerful life, Mr. Kalen Zhou felt ashamed. The restaurant no longer felt warm. What once glowed with golden light now felt cold and quiet, as though Lena's words had sucked the air from the room. Whispers rippled from table to table. People stared, some with shock, some with admiration, some with fear. No one had ever spoken to Mr. Kalen Zhou like that, and lived. Mr. Zhou remained standing. His hands slowly lowered to his sides. His chest rose and fell. Not in anger, in confusion, in disbelief. A waitress, a poor girl, had just challenged him, in his own language. "Sit down," one of his friends whispered nervously. But Mr. Zhou didn't move. His eyes followed Lena as she walked back toward the kitchen. Her back was straight, her steps steady. Not the walk of a servant. The walk of someone who refused to be broken. Something inside him stirred. A feeling he hadn't felt in years. Guilt. "Go get her," he said suddenly. The manager rushed forward in panic. "Mr. Zhou, please. Bring her back. Now." His voice was sharp. The kind of voice people obeyed. The manager hurried to the kitchen. Lena was standing by the sink, washing her hands slowly. She felt calm. Stronger than she ever had before. She had spoken the truth. And whatever happened next, she was ready. The manager approached nervously. "He wants to see you," he whispered. Lena nodded. "I know." When she returned to the golden table, the restaurant fell silent again. Mr. Zhou studied her face closely now. Not with disgust, but with curiosity. "You learned Mandarin where?" he asked quietly. "My mother taught me," Lena replied. "Why?" "She worked in China for years. Cleaning offices. Cooking for families who never learned her name." The men shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Zhou swallowed. "And you work here because—" Lena took a breath. Because my father is dying. The words were soft, but heavy. He's in Sunrise Mercy Hospital. His lungs are failing. Every treatment costs more than I earn in a month. A hush spread across the restaurant. Even the piano music had stopped. I work double shifts, Lena continued. I sleep 4 hours a night. I smile when customers insult me. I bow when they treat me like I'm nothing. Her voice trembled slightly, but she didn't cry. Because every tip keeps my father alive one more day. Silence. Deep. Uncomfortable. Real. One of the rich men cleared his throat. Another looked down at his plate. Mr. Zhou felt something twist inside his chest. He hadn't expected this. He expected anger, not sacrifice. You think poverty is laziness, Lena said gently. But poverty is fighting every day just to breathe. She looked straight at Mr. Zhou. Just like my father is doing right now. The billionaire's fingers tightened slowly. A memory flashed in his mind. A small apartment. Cold floors. A sick mother coughing through the night. Him, young, scared, powerless. A memory he had buried under money. How old are you? He asked quietly. 22. So young, he whispered. He had been just that age when he had nothing. And your mother? He asked. She passed away 3 years ago, Lena said softly. Overworked. Exhausted. No money for proper treatment. The words stabbed deeper than any insult. The restaurant guests listened in silence. Some women wiped tears from their eyes. The arrogance at the golden table was gone, replaced by shame. Mr. Zhou slowly sat down. For the first time, he looked small. I didn't know, he said quietly. Lena nodded. Most rich people don't. One of his friends muttered, We were just joking. Lena turned calmly. Jokes that hurt are not jokes. They are cruelty. No one replied. Mr. Zhou stared into his wine glass. The reflection showed a man he didn't recognize anymore. Not the poor boy who once struggled, but a cold billionaire who had forgotten humanity. Why didn't you tell us earlier? He asked. Because poor people are never listened to, Lena answered softly. Until they speak in a language the rich respect. Those words hit him hard. A long silence followed. Then Mr. Zhou stood again. Not in anger, but in humility. I owe you an apology, he said quietly. Gasps spread across the room. A billionaire apologizing publicly? Unheard of. I was cruel, he admitted. I forgot where I came from. He bowed his head slightly. I'm sorry. Lena's eyes widened. She hadn't expected that. But the story wasn't over. Not even close. Because that apology would soon turn into action. And that action would change everything. The rain began just after Lena finished her shift. Heavy drops crashed against the streets of Royal Crest City, washing the golden lights into blurry reflections on the road. Inside Imperial Flame Restaurant, warmth and luxury continued. But outside, reality waited. Lena pulled her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders and stepped into the night. Her feet ached. Her body was exhausted. But her heart pushed her forward. She had only one destination. Sunrise Mercy Hospital. Across the street, a black luxury car slowly followed. Inside sat Mr. Kalen Zhou. He hadn't planned to. He didn't even understand why he was doing it. But something about Lena's words had stayed with him. My father is fighting to breathe. Those words echoed in his head. So when he saw her leave the restaurant and walk into the rain, he told his driver softly, Follow her. Lena walked quickly. Past glowing shops. Past expensive apartments. Past places she could never afford. The farther she went, the darker the streets became. The buildings grew older. The lights dimmer. The people poorer. This was the part of the city Mr. Zhou never visited. After 20 minutes, Lena stopped in front of a large worn building. Its paint was faded. Windows cracked. But inside, faint lights glowed with life. A sign above the entrance read, Sunrise Mercy Hospital. People crowded the doorway. Mothers holding sick children. Old men leaning on sticks. Families whispering prayers. Hope and fear mixed in the air. Mr. Zhou watched from his car. This was not the private hospitals he funded for rich clients. This was where the poor came when they had nowhere else to go. He stepped out of the car slowly. The rain soaked his expensive coat. But he didn't care. Inside, the hospital smelled of medicine and sweat. Nurses rushed past. Patients lay on narrow beds in hallways. Some coughed. Some cried softly. Some stared at the ceiling in pain. Mr. Zhou froze. He had never seen suffering this close before. Lena hurried to the reception desk. "Please," she said breathlessly. "My father, how is he today?" The nurse sighed gently. "He's stable for now. But the treatment is expensive. You're already behind on payment." Lena swallowed hard. "I'll work more shifts. I promise." The nurse nodded kindly. "We're doing our best." Mr. Zhou listened from behind. Every word hit him like a hammer. Lena walked down a narrow hallway, past beds filled with struggling patients. She stopped at one near the window. An older man lay there, thin and pale. Tubes ran from his nose. His chest rose slowly, painfully. "Papa," Lena whispered. His eyes opened weakly. "Lena, you're here." She smiled softly and held his hand. "I'm always here." Mr. Zhou stood frozen in the doorway. That was her father. The man she was killing herself to save. The man she loved more than anything. "You should rest," he whispered weakly. "I can't," Lena replied. "I need to keep working. You'll get better. I promise." Tears filled his eyes. "You've already done too much." "No," she said gently. "I haven't done enough." Mr. Zhou felt his throat tighten. This wasn't weakness. This was love. Pure sacrifice. The kind money couldn't buy. A coughing fit shook the old man's body. Lena rushed to help him breathe. Nurses hurried over. Machines beeped. The room filled with tension. Mr. Zhou watched in helpless silence. For the first time in years, he felt powerless. After things settled, Lena sat beside the bed, exhausted. She rested her head gently near her father's arm. Her eyes closed for a moment. Sleep claimed her instantly. She was that tired. Mr. Zhou stepped closer quietly. He looked at the girl who had stood bravely against him hours earlier. Now she looked small, fragile, human. He finally understood. Her strength wasn't anger. It was survival. Her dignity wasn't pride. It was love. A nurse noticed him. "Sir, are you family?" He shook his head slowly. "No," he whispered. "But I should have been kinder." He walked back into the rain with heavy steps. The world no longer looked golden. It looked real. And for the first time in a long time, Mr. Kalen Zhou made a decision. One that would change Lena's life forever. Morning sunlight slipped gently through the dusty windows of Sunrise Mercy Hospital. It painted golden lines across the crowded hallway, touching tired faces, tired bodies, and tired hope. Lena stirred slowly beside her father's bed. Her neck was stiff. Her eyes burned. She had fallen asleep without realizing it. Exhaustion had taken her completely. She blinked and sat up quickly. "Papa," she whispered. Her father breathed softly. Still alive. Still fighting. Relief washed through her. She held his hand gently. "Good morning," she said with a weak smile. His lips curved slightly. "My brave girl." Footsteps rushed down the hallway. Nurses whispered excitedly. Doctors moved quickly from room to room. Something felt different. The air buzzed with energy, with surprise, with disbelief. Lena noticed a nurse stop in front of her. Her eyes were wide. "Are you Lena Hart?" she asked urgently. "Yes. Is something wrong with my father?" The nurse shook her head fast. "No. Something wonderful." She guided Lena to the reception area. A crowd had gathered. Doctors, nurses, patients, families, all whispering. The hospital director stood in the center holding papers with shaking hands. This morning, he announced loudly, an anonymous donor paid every outstanding bill for 10 critical patients. Gasps filled the room. And one of them, he continued, looking at Lena, is Mr. Thomas Hart. Lena froze. Her breath caught. What? She whispered. The full surgery cost, the director said. The medication. The recovery treatment. All paid. Tears filled Lena's eyes. Who paid it? He shook his head slowly. The donor requested to remain unknown. Lena's knees nearly gave out. She grabbed the desk for support. It felt unreal, like a dream. She covered her mouth as tears poured down her cheeks. My father, he can be saved. Yes, the doctor smiled warmly. The surgery will begin this afternoon. Hope exploded through the hospital like sunlight after storm. People cried. Some prayed. Others hugged strangers. Miracles were rare here. But today, one had arrived. Lena ran back to her father's bed. Papa! Papa! She cried joyfully. They paid it. You're going to be okay. Her father stared in disbelief. Who did this? I don't know, she sobbed. But someone heard us. Across the hallway, a nurse quietly whispered. It was a rich man in a black coat last night. Lena's heart skipped. A memory flashed. The billionaire standing silently in the doorway. The rain. The sadness in his eyes. Could it be? Doctors rushed in. Machines were prepared. Her father was gently rolled toward the operating room. Pray for me, he whispered weakly. I will, Lena said firmly, holding back tears. I'll pray harder than I ever have. As the doors closed, Lena finally collapsed into a chair. Her body shook. Not from fear. From relief. From hope. From gratitude. Hours passed. The hallway clock ticked slowly. Every second felt like a year. Lena paced. Prayed. Saturday. Stood. Her hands trembled constantly. Finally, the operating room doors opened. The doctor walked out smiling. The surgery was successful. Lena cried out loud. She hugged the doctor. She hugged a nurse. She hugged anyone near her. My father will live, she whispered in disbelief. That evening, Lena found a small envelope on the bedside table. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a simple card. No name. Just words. From someone who remembered what it means to be human. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. She clutched the card tightly. Thank you, she whispered into the empty room. Thank you to whoever saw her pain. Thank you to whoever cared. Thank you to whoever chose kindness. Outside the hospital window, a black luxury car slowly pulled away. Inside, Mr. Kalen Joe stared ahead silently. His eyes were wet, but his heart felt lighter than it had in years. For the first time since becoming rich, his money had saved a life. Not bought power, not bought pride, but given hope. And deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. 3 days had passed since the surgery. Sunrise Mercy Hospital felt brighter now, not because the walls had changed, but because hope had returned. Lena walked down the hallway with a small smile for the first time in months. Her father was resting peacefully. The machines beside his bed beeped softly, steady, strong. Alive. She adjusted his blanket gently. You scared me, Papa, she whispered. He smiled weakly. But you saved me. No, Lena said softly. Someone else did. They both knew who she meant. Ever since the miracle, Lena's heart had been searching for one face. One pair of eyes. Cold before. Kind after. Mr. Kalen Joe. That afternoon, she returned to Imperial Flame Restaurant for her shift. Her steps were lighter. Her shoulders no longer carried the weight of fear. The place looked the same. Golden lights. Soft music. Luxury everywhere. But Lena felt different. Stronger. Whispers followed her. That's the girl whose father got saved. They say a billionaire paid the bills. Was it Mr. Joe? Lena kept walking quietly. Near the window, a familiar figure sat alone. Black coat. Sharp face. But softer eyes. Mr. Zhou. No friends. No laughter. Just him. Waiting. Lena's heart raced. She approached slowly. "Good evening, sir," she said gently. He looked up. Their eyes met. And for the first time, he smiled. A real one. Not cold. Not proud. Human. "I was hoping you'd come," he said quietly. "Was it you?" Lena whispered. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he gestured to the chair across from him. "Sit." She hesitated, then sat. "How is your father?" he asked softly. "He's recovering," Lena said with tears in her eyes. "He'll live." Mr. Zhou nodded slowly. "I'm glad." Silence settled between them. Not awkward. Peaceful. Full of emotion. "Why did you do it?" Lena finally asked. "You didn't have to." He looked out the window. "When I was young, my mother was sick," he said quietly. "We were poor. I begged hospitals to help. They turned us away." Lena listened carefully. "She died in my arms," he continued, "because we had no money." Pain flashed across his face. "That day, I swore I would become rich enough that no one could ever look down on me again." "And you did," Lena whispered. "Yes," he nodded. "But in becoming rich, I became cold." He turned to her. "I forgot what suffering looked like. Until I saw you." His voice trembled slightly. "You reminded me of who I used to be." Tears filled Lena's eyes. "You saved my father." He shook his head slowly. "You saved my heart." She covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "No one had ever spoken to him like that before," he said. "No one had shown me truth without fear." "I was scared," Lena admitted softly. "But I couldn't stay silent anymore." "And I'm grateful you didn't," he replied. He reached into his coat and placed an envelope on the table. "Inside is a scholarship," he said. "Full education. Any university you choose." Lena gasped. "Sir." "Not charity," he interrupted gently. "An opportunity." "You are strong," he said. "You deserve more than endless suffering." Lena's hands shook. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he smiled softly. She laughed through tears. "Yes." The billionaire who once mocked her now looked at her with pride. Not superiority. Respect. As she stood to leave, Mr. Zhou said quietly, "Lena." "Yes." "Thank you for reminding me I'm human." She bowed slightly. "Thank you for proving kindness still exists." 2 lives had changed. One by courage. One by compassion. And the story was far from over. Weeks passed. And life no longer felt like a constant battle. Sunrise Mercy Hospital slowly faded from Lena's daily routine, not because she stopped caring, but because her father was finally strong enough to walk on his own. Each morning, they took slow steps down the hallway together. Each step felt like a victory. Each breath felt like a miracle. "You don't need to hold me so tight anymore," her father laughed one day. "I will always hold you tight," Lena smiled. Because she remembered when every breath had felt uncertain. At Imperial Flame Restaurant, everything had changed. Customers treated Lena with more respect. Some whispered her story. Some smiled kindly. Some even tipped generously. But something even bigger was happening in the city. Mr. Kalen Zhou had changed. The newspapers talked about it. The Steel Tycoon funds free medical program. Billionaire opens scholarship for poor students. Zhou Corporation builds community clinics. People were shocked. The man known for cold power had become a symbol of compassion. But Lena knew the truth. It all started with one night. One voice. One moment of courage. One afternoon, a black luxury car pulled up outside Lena's small apartment. Mr. Zhou stepped out. No bodyguards. No arrogance. Just him. Smiling. "I have news," he said. Lena's heart raced. "I was accepted into the university," she guessed. "Yes," he laughed. "And more." He handed her a folder. Inside were travel documents. School enrollment papers. Housing information. You'll be studying international languages and social development, he explained. So you can help people across the world. Lena covered her mouth. This is too much. It's exactly enough, he replied gently. Her father stepped forward proudly. You changed her life, he said. Mr. Zhou shook his head. She changed mine first. The city buzzed with stories of the new Mr. Zhou. He visited hospitals, spoke with patients, funded treatments quietly. No cameras, no praise, just kindness. For the first time, people saw a billionaire kneel beside sick children, hold old women's hands, listen to poor families' struggles. One reporter asked him, "Why the sudden change?" He answered simply, "I met a girl who taught me respect." Lena packed her small suitcase carefully. It held more hope than clothes, more dreams than belongings. The night before she left, she visited Sunrise Mercy Hospital one last time. She stood in the hallway where she once cried in fear, where hope once felt impossible. Now it felt endless. "Thank you," she whispered softly to the empty corridor. The next morning, Mr. Zhou drove her to the airport. As the city passed by, Lena stared out the window. The poor streets, the rich buildings, the places of pain, the places of hope. "You're going to change the world," Mr. Zhou said. She smiled. "Only if you keep helping me." He laughed quietly. "Deal." As Lena walked toward the gate, she turned back. "I won't forget where I came from. And I won't forget who reminded me," he replied. Dreams were no longer distant. They were real, alive, possible. And kindness was spreading faster than money ever could. Life finally felt calm. Too calm. And calm, Lena would soon learn, never lasted forever. University life was everything Lena dreamed of. Large classrooms, students from different countries, new languages, new ideas, new hope. She studied late into the night, hungry for knowledge the way she once hungered for survival. Every call from her father ended with laughter now. "I walked to the market today," he would proudly say. And Lena would cry happy tears. Mr. Zhou continued transforming the city. Free clinics opened. Scholarships filled classrooms. The poor finally had a voice. But with change came enemies. Some wealthy businessmen had grown rich from private hospitals. Others profited from expensive medicine. Mr. Zhou's free healthcare programs were costing them millions. And they were angry. In a dark office high above the city, 3 powerful men sat in silence. "He's ruining our business," one hissed. "He used to be one of us," another said bitterly. "Now he's a hero." The third slammed the table. Heroes can fall. A plan was born. Days later, Lena received a strange message. Unknown number. "Your father is in danger." Her heart froze. She called immediately. No answer. Panic rose like fire. She tried the hospital. Busy line. Her hands shook. She called Mr. Zhou. "Sir, something's wrong. I got a message about my father." "I'm on my way," he said instantly. Back in Royal Crest City, a black van stopped outside Sunrise Mercy Hospital. 2 masked men stepped out. They slipped inside quietly. Inside, Lena's father was resting peacefully. Until footsteps approached. A shadow crossed the wall. Fear filled his eyes. Meanwhile, Lena sat trembling in the car beside Mr. Zhou as they sped through traffic. "This is my fault," she cried. "No," he said firmly. "This is about power. And people afraid of change." The van screeched away minutes later. Hospital staff screamed. A patient was gone. Lena's father. Sirens filled the air. Doctors ran. Nurses cried. Chaos exploded. When Lena arrived, the bed was empty. Sheets torn. Machines still beeping. "Papa!" she screamed. Her legs gave out. Mr. Zhou caught her. "They took him," she sobbed. "They took my father." Mr. Zhou's face hardened. Not with arrogance. With determination. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "I will get him back." His phone rang. "Unknown number." He answered. A cold voice spoke. "Stop your charity programs. Shut down the free clinics, or the old man dies." Silence filled the car. Lena stared at him in horror. "Please," she cried. "Do what they want." Mr. Zhou clenched his fists. "If I stop helping people, many will die." "But if you don't," Lena whispered, broken, "my father will." The storm had arrived. Kindness had made enemies, and the choice ahead would test everything they believed in. Night swallowed Royal Crest City. Streetlights blurred past as Mr. Zhou's car raced through empty roads. Lena sat beside him, shaking. Her fingers twisted together endlessly. "They're going to hurt him," she whispered. "They won't," Mr. Zhou said firmly. "Not while I'm alive." His phone buzzed again. A message appeared. "Abandoned steel warehouse. Dock 7. Come alone." Lena gasped. "They're trapping you." "Maybe," he replied calmly. "But I'm going anyway." The warehouse stood dark and broken near the river. Windows shattered. Rust everywhere. The place smelled of oil and old metal. Perfect for criminals. Mr. Zhou parked slowly. "Stay in the car," he said gently. "No," Lena cried. "I'm coming." He looked at her. "You're brave. But this is dangerous." "He's my father," she said firmly. Mr. Zhou nodded. "Then we go together." Inside, shadows moved. Footsteps echoed. A single light bulb flickered overhead. Lena's father sat tied to a chair. Bruised, but alive. "Papa!" she cried. "Lena!" he shouted weakly. 3 men stepped out of the darkness. The same businessmen who once drank wine with Mr. Zhou. Smiling coldly now. "You've become a problem," one said. "You ruined our profits." "Let him go," Mr. Zhou said calmly. "And shut down your clinics," another laughed. "Or watch him die." Lena fell to her knees. "Please, he's innocent." One man sneered. "Innocent people suffer when powerful men make enemies." Mr. Zhou stepped forward slowly. "I'll give you everything," he said. "Money, shares, properties." They paused. Interested. "But the clinics stay open," he added firmly. Their faces darkened. "No deal." Suddenly, sirens echoed in the distance. The men froze. "What did you do?" one shouted. Mr. Zhou smiled slightly. "I remembered something." "What?" "That power is useless without justice." Police flooded the warehouse. Lights flashed. Shouts filled the air. The criminals tried to run. But it was too late. They were surrounded. Lena rushed to her father, untied him, crying. "You're safe, Papa." Mr. Zhou stood tall as officers arrested the men. One screamed, "You think this makes you a hero?" Mr. Zhou answered calmly, "No. It makes me human." As the criminals were taken away, Lena hugged Mr. Zhou tightly. "Thank you," she sobbed. He held her gently like a father would. "Good always fights back," he whispered. Outside, the river reflected flashing police lights. The storm was over. But the lesson remained. Morning light stretched gently across Royal Crest City. The storm had passed. The danger was gone. And something new had been born. Hope. Lena sat beside her father in the hospital room once more, but this time not in fear. Doctors smiled as they walked by. Nurses chatted calmly. No machines screamed in panic. Only steady breathing. "Life. You were brave," her father whispered. "No," Lena smiled softly. "We all were." News spread fast across the city. Businessmen arrested for kidnapping plot. Billionaire saves patient, keeps free clinics open. Justice wins over greed. People who once doubted kindness now believed again. Mr. Kalen Zhou stood outside the hospital, watching families walk in without fear of bills. Children laughed. Old men smiled. Mothers cried happy tears. This was wealth used correctly. Lena joined him. "You didn't stop helping people," she said softly. "I never will again," he replied. Weeks later, a huge ceremony filled the city square. Mr. Zhou announced a foundation. The Heart Hope Initiative. Free healthcare. Education scholarships. Support for struggling families. All forever funded. He invited Lena to speak. Her hands trembled as she stepped to the microphone. But her voice was strong. "I was once just a waitress," she said. "A girl everyone ignored. But kindness changed my life. And courage changed someone else's heart." The crowd erupted in applause. Some cried. Some prayed. Some smiled. Mr. Zhou looked proud. Not of power. Of purpose. Lena later boarded a plane to continue her studies, but now she carried more than dreams. She carried a mission. To help others the way she had been helped. Years passed, and Lena returned as a humanitarian leader. Building hospitals. Teaching languages. Saving lives. And Mr. Zhou. He became known not as the cold billionaire, but as the man who turned wealth into hope. One evening, they stood together watching a sunset over the city. "Do you ever regret that night at the restaurant?" Lena asked gently. He smiled. "It was the best humiliation of my life." They both laughed, because that night taught the world something powerful. Wealth without kindness is poverty. Respect is richer than money. One brave voice can change many lives. And so the story that began with mockery ended with mercy. With pride turned into compassion. With pain turned into purpose. As the sun disappeared behind the city skyline, Lena's voice echoed softly. "Kindness didn't just save my father. It saved a broken man's heart." And somewhere in the crowd, a little girl whispered, "Maybe rich people can be good too." But the real question is, how many people suffer today, just waiting for one act of kindness? How many lives could change if someone chose compassion instead of pride? If this story touched your heart even a little, tap like so more people can feel this message. Comment, kindness. If you believe respect is richer than money, subscribe for more powerful stories that change lives. Because the next story might change yours. Thank you.